What's up, everybody? It's Jared with Capture the Magic. And yesterday at Epic Universe, a guest that had rode Stardust Racers was unconscious when they had pulled back into the station. They were rushed to the hospital and later, sadly, passed away. But we are getting more details about what may have happened here. And from a report that just came out a few minutes ago, it seems that this guest died of multiple blunt impact injuries. So it's a very unfortunate event here. So we're going to read through this article. This is being reported on by Universal Parks News today. Update: guest died of multiple blunt impact injuries after riding Stardust Racers. The Orange County Sheriff's Office has identified the guest who died after riding Epic Universe's roller coaster Stardust Racers, as well as revealed the cause of death. The guest who passed away was 32-year-old Kevin Rodriguez Zazvla. I apologize if I got that wrong. Spectrum News 13 reports. The cause of death was ruled to be multiple blunt impact injuries. This was reported by WESH2 and Spectrum News 13. On Wednesday, he became unresponsive after riding Stardust Racers and was taken to a hospital where he was later pronounced dead. The sheriff's office stated on September 17th, off-duty deputies responded to a man down call at Epic Universe. A man in his 30s was found unresponsive after riding a roller coaster and was transported to the hospital where he was later pronounced dead. It is very early in the investigation. We have no further information to release at this time. An autopsy was performed on Thursday morning, after which Chief Medical Examiner Joshua Stephanie, MD with Orange and Osceola County, stated that the cause of death was multiple blunt impact injuries. Universal also released this statement. Universal is cooperating with the Orange County Sheriff's Office following a tragic event involving a guest at Epic Universe on Wednesday night. The guest became unresponsive after riding Stardust Racers and was transported to the hospital where the guest later died. We are devastated by this event and extend our sincerest sympathies to the guest's loved ones. We are fully committed to cooperating with this ongoing investigation, and the attraction remains closed. So it has not opened today, and who really knows when this is going to reopen. The quarterly injury reports for Florida theme parks included 2 guests with undisclosed pre-existing conditions who did feel sick after riding Stardust Racers. Of course, Stardust Racers is a dual launch roller coaster, consists of 5,000 feet of track up to 133 feet tall, and the top speed is 62 miles per hour. There were rumors that trim brakes were added to the roller coaster during testing, and Universal began warning guests that their shoes must be worn at all times. And Stardust Racers has added modified seats to accommodate larger guests in the past as well. Now, when this first happened, I think a lot of people assume, myself included, this would have been somebody potentially with a heart condition. As this, unfortunately, this has happened before on roller coasters where, this is why you have all the warnings before you get onto a ride, warning you of, potential things that if you have back pain or heart problems or blood pressure issues to, be cautious or maybe not ride this ride. And so I think that's what a lot of people jump to, is something along those lines, an underlying condition that led to this very unfortunate outcome. But to hear about multiple blunt impact injuries, that leaves a lot of questions. But it also leads to the question as well, if he's the only one that experienced them, did anybody else on the ride also experience this? And obviously there's been a lot of people that have ridden this that have not had this issue. I wonder, and this is just pure speculation, but if you were to pass out on a roller coaster, not able to support your head, potentially you could have your head going around and potentially hitting things. Maybe something flew off and hit him and knocked him out, like a guest had their phone, which they're not supposed to have on this ride, or something hit him and then caused him to lose consciousness and then hit his head. And I do know on Stardust Racers, they do have the policy. I mean, you can't take anything, you can't take your bag or your phone with you on this ride. So one would think that the possibility is always there that something flew out of another guest, while they were holding it, and it potentially hit somebody, though Universal goes to great lengths to try and prevent that. But obviously there's always, the possibility that somebody was able to sneak on a phone or something. But obviously guest safety is on top of having, new attractions and things that are going to appeal to guests to come to the theme parks. Obviously safety is a very high priority in these parks. And I know people that work at both Universal and Disney World, and they're one of the main things they constantly are always talking about is guest safety, especially on attractions, as not only just because you want your guests to enjoy the ride, you don't want anything bad to happen to your guests, but also, you know, liability and lawsuits and reputation. So there's a lot of motivations and reasons as to you would look at this and assume, at least from the outside looking in, that there was nothing operational wrong with Stardust Racers. Also, the fact that it's only happened to one individual and not other people. There's no reports that I have seen that anybody else was injured in this. So one would assume if something really catastrophic happened on this ride, that, obviously I feel like there would have been more people that would have been injured potentially. You potentially could have an issue where they weren't properly restrained. And I know Universal has gotten a lot of flack over the years of sometimes, the rides not being accommodating for larger guests sometimes. Although on Stardust Racers, they did install larger seats to accommodate larger guests. But, many times they are very kind of stringent on that for safety reasons, as if you're not able to be fully secured in the ride, obviously that could be very bad. So we don't know if perhaps he wasn't restrained properly. Personally speaking, having gone to the parks a lot, they're usually pretty diligent on that. I've never really felt that they seen any team members or cast members at Disney World even, really overlook that. They're usually pretty good on that. So potentially it could be that. Multiple blunt impact injuries, though, would lead. Obviously, you're talking about getting hit in the head more than likely, which obviously, things have happened in the past. People, especially like Splash Mountain over the years, or Tiana's Bayou Adventure, you go down the plunge and hats fly off. I actually knew somebody that got a broken nose back when it was Splash Mountain off of somebody's hat flying off and hitting them in the head. So things like this can happen in theme parks. It's not often, but it's very, very unfortunate. And, I'm sure they're going to do a full investigation to figure out what happened here. And if there was any fault of Universal on this, I'm sure that will be reported on, and changes will be made on this ride if that was the case. So, just from a standpoint of park safety, I hope that wasn't the case. I hope it wasn't a team member that overlooked something or took a shortcut. I hope there wasn't a malfunction of the ride. And perhaps this was just a freak accident that happened. A lot more questions than answers right now with this. And we don't know what the timeline was. From what I've heard, I couldn't find anything on how quickly paramedics arrived, if anybody was on site. Like, I don't know any of those details. Those have not been released as far as I'm aware of. I would suppose Stardust Racers is going to be closed for potentially an extended period of time. I would assume until they do an investigation to figure out what happened here, that this ride is not going to reopen. And as far as I know, I think in the Orlando area, at least, this is the first death I can recall in a theme park related to an attraction since 2022, when there was a teenager that fell from Orlando's Free Fall, which is a drop tower, which is in Icon Park. And they later found out that the seat sensor had been manually adjusted, allowing the ride to operate with a larger gap in the harness, and he ultimately fell from very high up and passed away. From time to time, there have been people, again, that have passed away due to underlying health issues on a ride. Maybe they had a heart issue or something along those lines that they shouldn't have ridden the ride, and unfortunately it led to their death. But this is the first time I can recall in a major theme park like Disney World, Universal Studios, since I've been covering theme parks, where somebody has passed away seemingly due to something that happened directly on the ride that maybe impacted them. Again, I feel terrible for this family, and I can't imagine going to a theme park and just enjoying your day, and you go there with your family and you leave one less family member. That's a very sad thing. Thoughts and prayers to that family. It's very unfortunate, and until we get more details about this, it's just all purely speculation. When we find out more information, we will let you know about it on here. But for now, that is going to be it, though, for this video. So if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about all this? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.